2019. Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Another great day in the city of Inglewood, isn't that right, Mr. Agee? All right. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
A quorum is present for City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority, Finance Authority, Parking Authority, and Joint Powers Authority.
Any persons wishing to address the City Council, Successor Agency, Housing Authority, Finance Authority, Parking Authority, or the Joint Powers Authority on any item of the day's agendas may do so at this time. With that, we'll close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move allow payments.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
City Council, Successor Agency, and Housing Authority members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
The consent calendar, items 2 through 4.
I
So
didn't
moved.
hear.
Second. Oh, no. Time out. You never said yes, sir.
Oh, aye.
Thank you.
Consent calendar, items 2 through 4.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Butts.
Aye. Joint consent calendar, items 5 and CSA 3.
So moved as to City Council Successor Agency 1 and 2 and Successor Agency 1.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members and Successor Agency members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. Um, 8-1.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a closed session regarding Daisy Becerra versus City of Inglewood, Los Angeles Superior Court case number BC 693686. During the closed session item, Mayor Butts was not present. The council members Dodson, Padilla, Morales, and Franklin were present. A discussion was held and direction given to staff as to that matter. As to A2, there was no reports from the city attorney's office.
CM1.
Manager reports.
CC1.
No reports. Thank you, Mayor.
There'll be no CT1. CSA 2.
Approval of the minutes for Successor Agency meeting held on February the 26th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Successor Agency members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Butts.
All right, during the successor agency, the Housing Authority is in session. H2.
Approval of the minutes for the Housing Authority meeting held on February 12th, 2019, and February 26th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Housing Authority members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Butts.
Aye, adjourn the Finance Authority. Excuse me, adjourn the Housing Authority. F1.
Approval of the minutes for the Finance Authority meeting held on February the 26th, 2019.
Move approval.
Madam Clerk.
Finance Authority members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Butts.
Aye, adjourn the Finance Authority. Parking Authorities in session. P1.
Approval of the minutes for the Parking Authority meeting held on February 26th, 2019.
Approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Parking Authority members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Butts.
Aye. Adjourn the Parking Authority. Joint Powers Authority is in session. JP1.
Approval of the minutes for the Joint Powers Authority meeting held on February 12th, 2019.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Joint Powers Authority members: Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Chairman Butts.
Aye. Adjourn the Inglewood Joint Powers Authority. There are no appointments to boards and commissions. Public comment. Any persons wishing to address the City Council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time. Persons with complaints regarding city management or departmental operations are requested to submit those complaints first to the city manager for resolution. Are there any public comments? Okay, we'll close public comment. Council comments. Councilman Dotson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to thank everybody for coming out. Have a great day.
Councilman Padilla, District 2.
Great, I got your 3 minutes. I'm
This
good.
is scary. This is scary, right?
No, look, real quick. I had the privilege last week of going to Crozier School to read across America with the kids there. It was a really fun day. And good to see also community residents and also other business owners come out and participate with Read Across America. And also over the weekend, Councilman Morales and I had an opportunity to be at the Taste of Art held right across the street at Crozier School. Again, another great community event. As you can see by the artwork, we have some very talented students in the Inglewood Unified School District. So kudos to the school and to the students for putting together a wonderful community art event. And just a reminder for a save the date, Sunday, April 14th, and that's again, Sunday, April 14th, we're doing a pet clinic at the District 2 Community Center. We're gonna do vaccinations, we're gonna provide chipping for the dogs and your cats, and then there'll be experts there to talk about any concerns you might have with your animals. Again, this is also a way to get in front of, 4th of July with all the fireworks and stuff. We have our dogs and cats that run to different areas. This way, if they're found, if they've been chipped, it'll be easier for us to return them to their families. So with that, thank you and have a great week.
Okay. Madam City Treasurer, you were a little bit late, but would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. Much appreciated.
All right.
Busy buying bonds for the city. And I did buy a Freddie Mac at 3.0 that will be settling tomorrow. And it was bought from Higgins Capital. And also would just like to remind the community regarding the community workshop that will be held on the 27th of April. And some of the topics that will be covered is eliminating debt, 3 C's of investment, buying your first home, buying investment property, what you need to know about IRAs, and pros and cons of reverse mortgages, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all kinds of life insurance, the good, the bad, and the ugly, rentals insurance, and understanding your student loan debt. And also, we will have vendors that will be doing all of these presentations. Some of the vendors who's been located here in Inglewood for more than 20, 30 years, and they will be passing out a wealth of information that will help those who will be attending this community workshop on a variety of different topics. And also, for the first time, we will have an attorney that will be talking about different kinds of wills and trusts, and also the importance of having something like that done. And also, for the first time also, I will have a speaker that will be speaking on the importance of having burial costs or insurance to cover those final needs. All too often, I've been driving through the city and seeing people with signs, trying to collect money to bury a loved one that have passed. And keep in mind, death is guaranteed. The second you are born, you are eligible. So we're going to have a speaker that's going to be speaking on that topic, and the kinds of things you need to have, in place regarding, to cover funeral costs, because funeral costs can be very expensive, from as low as, I think, about $1,800 just to be cremated, and that's just basic. There's still other costs, upwards to other costs. So this is going to be, I think, a topic that people really need to understand and have in place when that time comes, and believe me, it's coming, 100% guaranteed. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Councilman Franklin, District 4.
I need to go up on a higher note. That death note didn't work well for me. I just want to acknowledge, first of all, thanks everyone for being here. But Sunday, I had the pleasure of representing the city of Inglewood as the pastor Luther B. Keith and his wife, Dr. Elizabeth Keith, celebrated their 44th pastoral anniversary. Was very well attended, and I do want to acknowledge that some of the churches that was identified with their pastors: Victory in Christ Ministries, Greater Good Shepherd, Missionary Baptist Church, Greater New Jerusalem Missionary Baptist Church, Bible Faith Ministries Christian Church, Gardena Torrance Baptist Church, Church of the Light Church, and by all means, the congregation of Central Baptist Church right there at 108th and Crenshaw. Thank you very much for attending today, and God bless you all. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, yes, you did. Just stand by, sir. Just have a seat. Have a seat for a second. Have a seat for a second. Councilman Morales, I'm going to have to interrupt you.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
What do you need?
I'm going to first, we did go quickly. All right. So, sir. It was so ruthlessly efficient. It just went by you, right? Okay.
Not that.
Okay. So, ma'am, you come on up first, and sir, you come on up second, and Mr. Burkett, you can be third, and Angela, I got you too. And who says we're not flexible? All right.
For your flexibility.
Yes.
So I just moved to Inglewood in October, and I'm currently converting a detached garage into an ADU, and I'm noticing what a need for housing there is, and I'm also encountering some of the difficulties in getting permits. And in this process, I talk to contractors and people that say, oh, Inglewood's really difficult, City of LA, very easy compared to Inglewood as far as the speed, and the fact that, from my understanding, in LA City, they just look at where you're building, whereas in Inglewood, they look at the entire property. So I now have to permit things that were constructed. This home was built in 1925, so you can imagine all the things that have happened in almost 100 years. So, and I've also heard the staff complaining that they don't have enough, there's big waits and they don't have enough support. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention because I would like to continue in this process of buying properties and creating more housing, and wanted to make you aware so that other people could do so in a easier fashion.
Hold on one second. So, ma'am, you said that you bought a property or you own a property?
So I own a property, and I'm converting the garage into a rental unit, and if that's successful, I'd like to do that again, but it's a deterrent when it's so difficult in Inglewood. It makes me think, well, I won't buy my next house in Inglewood, I'll buy one outside of Inglewood.
Okay, so
but
let's talk about that for one
Yeah.
second. Just 1 second, just a second now. Now, that's great in LA that they don't, at the time that you try to build something, they don't look at the integrity of the structures around it. But that's not the way we do things here. Because if there are problems with things not being to code as far as electrical, as far as setbacks, as far as, things, as far as things that could impact safety and the quality of life of your neighbors, that's not a bad thing. Now, the other part, for someone to tell you that you would have an easier time than Los Angeles, and here, someone is pulling your leg.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, I've heard that
so-
from several
so-
contractors
I-
that say,
I get
yeah,
it.
you can get permits.
Bring them
within
before me.
a
But
couple
anyway,
weeks. I will.
listen. Here's the thing. We want your experience to be pleasant. In fact, our director of economic development and planning, that's Chris Jackson, that good-looking guy in the glasses. He's back there, and he'll meet you in the hallway and he'll discuss your issues with you. Okay?
Yeah, I definitely want safety to be a priority.
We
but,
sure do.
But it's also, it's difficult when you have so many steps and so much money to pay to permit things that other people have built that are structurally sound.
Right.
and you have
But
to
that's kind of the problem when you buy a property and it has things that are not permitted, that, at one day the piper will have to be paid and things will have to be brought to code. But there's no one that has any intent to make things difficult for you.
I understand. And is
Okay.
there more funding being put towards that department since we do anticipate a lot of growth happening in Inglewood?
Well, we just spent $200,000 plus to remodel it so that we
I
could
did
have.
see the remodel today.
Okay,
It
so
looks lovely.
that we could handle the customers better. We've contracted consultants to help us with the permitting with major projects. So yes, all
Be more
all
staff
the
there
above.
then. Okay.
I could address it a little
yes,
bit
Elon,
further.
but
and,
if
and just to
Ma'am?
address it one second further, in terms of the ADUs in the city of LA, the difference between the city of Inglewood and the city of LA is that in the city of LA, their problem was so big, so large, that instead of addressing it like we're doing, what they did is they offered an amnesty, which they basically said, you're all legal all of a sudden. They didn't check the safety, as the mayor said, or anything else. So our standard is higher.
Yeah.
And that usually takes a little bit more time.
Okay, thank you.
Is that your daughter?
That is my daughter. So
I thought she was like a cell phone ring.
That's a good cell phone ring. That would be a good cell phone ring.
Come on up, sir.
Effective ringtone, actually. Thank you for indulging. In the same vein as hers, actually, I'm here to address something from last week, the rent control temporary thing that you guys activated last week. As you guys know, Santa Monica, San Francisco, New York, those are some of the most expensive places in the country, and if not world, they all share rent control. As your memo stated, Inglewood is actually under average of LA County. So from where I'm standing, I feel like we're actually in a pretty good spot. In reality, rent control negatively impacts mom and pop landlords who own older buildings. The billionaire who's building new real estate in the area will not be affected by that. The small mom and pop people will. I know you get horror stories, anecdotal stories of little old ladies getting kicked out or their rents getting raised when a building changes hands. Unfortunately, that is, a reality of the situation in the society. We live in a capitalistic society. I would propose that rather than doing a sledgehammer on a nail, which rent control would be, do something like increasing the per unit business tax that we all pay, so that it hits all unit owners, including the billionaire who's going to be opening up a bunch of stuff in the area, not just the small mom and pop folks like us who own the older buildings. I'm out of time.
No, you're not. No, you're not, Pop. Let's talk about this just a second. So you own an
One
apartment.
4-unit property,
You so,
Inglewood.
how many units?
One 4-unit property for 15 years in Inglewood.
Okay. So now, what was the tax you were recommending?
Well, right now we pay a $20 per unit tax, and I would suggest rather than doing like a rent control that only hits the older buildings and the small guys, that you increase that, maybe double it. I mean, even tripling it wouldn't be like a total buzzkill, but it would also affect.
Yeah, but how would that help the tenants?
Well, here's the thing. If your primary motivation is to help with relocation assistance, which I agree with, if the little lady comes in and says, hey, my rent just got changed hands, the billing changed hands, the rent's through the roof now, I can't afford it. Yes, I do believe that we should be sympathetic to them, and we could create a slush fund with those excess funds to help them, and it should be income-based, need-based, because rent control is not. What you do is you create a lifelong tenancy in some cases where people just stay low and why ever move, and you constrict inventory by doing that. You freeze out young families who will never have an opportunity to rent there, and you create, so the fact of the matter is, yes, we do want to help those who are actually in need, and if we do that, we create a slush fund, needs-based, income-based, not just, hey, you've been here for a long time, your rent shouldn't go up. I do not believe that should be the qualification, because that is at the expense of not only the landlords, who are also little old ladies who use that income to supplement their Social Security. So God forbid she has a life event, she can't raise a rent more than the rate of inflation. How's that going to help her? So she's owned the building for 20 years, and a lot of times these people already have cut rate, reduced rents. I know for a fact our building, we already under market. And the threat of rent control is making us freak out and think, well, we need to raise it that 5% today.
Okay, hey, what's your name, sir? Jason, don't freak out. Don't need to freak out. We are studying this very carefully. We're looking at, what's going on in the region, all the things that you talked about on the landlord side of the equation. And it isn't just little ladies that have to worry about their rent, and it isn't little ladies that have to worry about whether or not their investment is going to yield what they needed to yield for them to live. There are single mothers with children. There are nuclear families with mother, father, 3, 4 kids, and we just cannot have a situation where an investor comes in, buys a mortgage for triple what it used to be, and has to make ends meet, raise rents, but we can't have that happen so dramatically that just whole buildings of people are forced out with no option. So there is no intent to constrict the ability of people to get a fair return on their properties. Also, there is definite intent by the council to see that people are not forced out en masse because of all the factors that are coming together in our city because we've been more desirable since the end of 2012, and property values have gone up and rents have gone up. But right now, at this point in time, we are still a little below what's the average for comparable properties. And so what we want to do is we want to be fair to everybody, but this is definitely a situation. So I want you to understand that we are keeping in mind the dilemma for the property owners as well, and we're trying to come up with a fair, reasonable, and equitable progressive solution. I spent 15 years in the city of Santa Monica as a police chief. That is one of the strongholds of rent control. You can't get an apartment in Santa Monica today, so we know that's not the be-all, end-all for affordability. So I just want to tell you thank you. We've heard you, and we will continue to study this with great care and deliberation. Mr. Burkett.
My name is Barry Burkett. I'm the co-CEO of Thrifty Oil Company, a little different than everybody else that often comes up complaining. I actually want to wow Mayor Butts, Councilman Padilla, and the rest of the council. We're fortunate that we had a piece of property. We've been operating stations in this city for decades for a variety of reasons.
Yes, I let him through.
Properties, one of the properties became non-operable as a gas station. And council member, we ended up fighting, ended up talking to these gentlemen and working with us, and we now have what is, I think, a spectacular community center on the side of the city. And here comes the first of our large checks, and I thought since we're starting with some large checks, I'd come up with a larger one to the city. I have a smaller one that the bank will take. Yeah, I think this will make that one better.
Nice.
Okay, so you guys understand, you know, one of the things the council had to do, in 2011, we were in bad shape, and we had to do things differently. We had to see things differently. The prior council member wanted to take that gas station and make it into a parking lot. We entered into an agreement where we would have advertising, and that at the property owner's expense, they built a community center. So that old nasty gas station is the District 2 Community Center, and this is our first check. It's for $500,000.
No, it's for
This
99,000.
is just a hair, and I kept trying to push the
Nine-
third channel.
Oh,
This
excuse
is for
me.
99,000.
99,000.
And then-
I'm thinking of our other deals,
Then it'll
but
start
anyway.
doubling.
Anyway, this is the first one. It's about $100,000.
It'll be millions to the city.
And it'll end up being millions. And this is similar to what we do with WOW, which built billboards for the city, where we make millions a year. So thinking outside the box and working in partnership with Mr. Burkett and Thrifty, we have a beautiful community center, and we have income that we can use for our parks, our libraries, for our recreation, for our children. So thank you very much, Mr. Burkett.
I just want to say, I have to say, the city of Inglewood has been the most progressive and the most reasonable in terms of trying to come up with something that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to take a picture over there, and then I want you to talk to that young lady and tell her how great we are to work with. But come on. This is the one with the signature.
Put it over this way.
Okay, since open public comment, is it, okay. Does anybody else have a public comment?
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and council members. My name is Adriana Grimes, Staff Assistant for the Environmental Services Division of the Public Works Department. We would like to inform you all that we'll be conducting an event that I would like to extend an invitation for all to attend. Our upcoming document shredding and donations event will be held this Saturday, March 16th, 2019. The event will be held in front of Inglewood High School located at 231 Gravilla Avenue from 9 o'clock a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Document shredding services are limited to our Inglewood residents only. ID is required. Donators and persons seeking document shredding services will not have to leave their vehicles to complete a transaction. Items will be removed from vehicles by event staff in a drive-through manner. The donations accepted for this event will be electronic waste or e-waste, gently used clothing, shoes, accessories, and bicycle donations. This is the first of 3 document shredding and donations events scheduled for calendar year 2019. The objective of this event is to promote recycling and safe document destruction. Tax-compliant donation receipts will not be available. However, your and the community's conscientious effort in supporting these environmental programs goes a long way in contributing in the statewide mandates of environmental compliance. We hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, staff, residents of Inglewood. My name is Wayne Spencer. I'm the chair for the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. I'm here to bring you our reports, and if I may approach the Sergeant at Arms for your perusal later on. South Bay Workforce Investment Board is a federal entity that's housed by Inglewood. Inglewood is our home city, and we provide all the job training for the 11 South Bay cities. Mayor, City Council, and most of you and your friends have been able to take advantage of our job training programs. The mayor has championed our prisoner return program so that people coming out of jail will have a great chance of running. Anyway, we're the South Bay Workforce Investment Board. I'm Wayne Spencer. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will, no problem. We'll close public comment, and now we're at Councilman Morales from District 3.
Thank you. I just have some brief comments. First, I'd like to say the gentleman that came up about the rent ordinance that we have going, I've gotten a number of calls, and what I've asked is that folks go ahead and email us anything they think we need to think about while we're making the decision. Like the mayor says, we're taking our time with it, but the best way to kind of send us information that you feel we need to consider is probably email. You're welcome to come here, but since time is limited, it's kind of difficult. Secondly, I just wanted to readdress the event over at Crozier. Alex mentioned it. The Inglewood Unified School District did a great job of promoting their schools. We had a great time. Every time I go to a school event, I can see how great, especially our elementary school systems, is, and how much the parents really take to it and really love it. I mean, it's amazing. So it's just a moment to give a shout out to the school board, the state trustee, and everybody who's in charge over there. Also, I went to Oak Street School about a week and a half ago, and you know, everybody's pumped up that Becky G is an alumni over there of Oak Street, but you know, I found out that the great Steve Martin is a alumni of Oak Street School, and he had visited it as well. So that's a big deal. Yeah, I saw a picture.
Well, then why was he in the Grand Canyon then?
Well, I don't know what he was doing, man. He was confused.
He was really from here. All right.
But anyway, just wanted to do that. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. You know, we have had a number of people reach out to us, and they wanted to know what happens with notices of increase that exceed 5% that are due to take effect after March the 5th, but fall within the 45-day window of the ordinance. And so, Mr. City Attorney, would you deliver the news?
Right now, the moratorium that we have is just that, a moratorium. We do not have any controls as to what's going to happen. So generally what happened during the moratorium period is that if you get a eviction notice or an increase, you can challenge it, but it's going to have to go to court. Later, after the city council makes additional information, takes the information that you're providing them, is able to review it, they may come up with another practice of doing what the mayor has suggested, possibly including a tenant relocation fee, seeing whether or not it's going to be limited to 5%, and other items that the mayor and the council is going to be addressing. But at this time, there's really not as much of a control to not allow the increase over 5%, except for you to challenge it in court.
With the ordinance as your backup. All right, thank you very much. I wanted to just say that I really am just so impressed with the quality of how the quality of discourse has improved at council meetings over the past, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. And just an impressive city, and I want to promise the young lady and her daughter that we are a very friendly place to work with, and give us another chance. Okay, so with that, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.